Okay, so the next part we're going to look at, so we've talked about obviously intrinsic and understood what that feedback is, the feedback that comes from within, and then we've talked about extrinsic feedback, the source of that extrinsic feedback. Is it you? What if it's you as a leader or a manager or a coach? Okay, fundamental for developing relationships, self-awareness, etc., and performance. But I kind of want us to sort of think about some of the common factors that might affect the one-to-one feedback, as in giving it or receiving it. So I want you to look at these particular areas. Credibility. Where does credibility come from? It might be that you're questioning the source, as in, who are you to tell me this? Maybe you're trying to give feedback on an area that somebody doesn't believe you, like leadership. If somebody's never been a leader themselves and you're trying to give them feedback on leadership, doesn't mean, by the way, doesn't mean that it wouldn't be really good feedback because it's an opinion or it's how you've made somebody feel. But I'm just saying, just be aware that if you want to give feedback, say on a technical skill, and somebody doesn't believe or wonders, why do I trust your sort of, and again, it will come with the truth, but the credibility, are you the right person? Do you have the technical knowledge to provide feedback to me on a particular skill? Then that could be a problem. Relationships, here's a question. Is it easier to give difficult or maybe challenging, constructive feedback to a friend? Or is it easier to give it to somebody that you're not emotionally attached with? Now, there's not a yes or no to this because it's very personal, very individual. But understand that relationships could potentially affect your ability to give and receive feedback. We do have to be aware of that emotional connection and the impact that maybe giving some challenging feedback would actually have on the friendship. On a positive note, it may be that you know the person that well that you know you're absolutely the right person they'd like to hear it from. But it works both ways, understand that. Then, of course, there's the truth. Okay, so when we're talking about the truth, it's about the source of the truth because people have different opinions. You can look at a comedian. Some people would laugh at a comedian, the other person won't laugh. Who's right or wrong? Is the person funny? No, sometimes it's a perception. So we do have to be careful about the source of the truth. What we can't deny is if somebody's giving you some feedback on the way you made them feel, for example, then we should listen because that's the truth, because that's how you made them feel. If it's on a behavior, if it's on a particular way you chose to do something, think about this, all right? Try and be as objective as possible, not subjective, all right, but be objective. Again, how can we be objective when we're given certain feedback? If we're watching somebody do a particular skill, we would have the outcome, maybe we could discuss that. We would have the time it took them. We would have the amount, the cost that it took them, the numbers of people they use. We would have data. Where possible, use data that will demonstrate the truth. It might be a video, a bit of footage, which won't lie, but it's kind of that, all right? So where possible, when you're using the truth. And again, other couple of bits, be logical in the feedback because people will trust logic. Be authentic when you're giving it because people will trust that. And most of all, be empathetic. Understand the position that they stood and why they did what they did. And maybe that will help you say it the right way too. The idea of openness is an interesting one because we can look at culture, and we're going to do something in a little bit because we're going to look at some of the factors that affect organisational feedback, whether people are willing to receive feedback and why and what's in it, etc. But if we haven't had a culture or we're not used to receiving feedback and part and parcel of how we've developed ourselves, then we're probably going to be less open to it. If your sort of history of receiving feedback is one of negativity, I never get told anything when I do something well, but actually people are very quick to pick me up when I do something wrong, there's a danger that people aren't going to be open to this. So you're going to have to break down barriers here. This will be a barrier potentially affecting someone's ability to listen to it. What do we do in that case? Like all of them, we establish relationships, trusted relationships. And we establish why we're going to give feedback. What's the reason for it? What's in it for us? People are going to be much more open. all right? But that could potentially be a problem. And of course, hierarchy. Is it easier, or has anybody in the room tried to give feedback up the chain? How many people here would be happy to provide feedback to the highest person in the business? Thoughtful. And if not, why not? What is it about the hierarchy? Is it about my chances of promotion? Is it about the fact that my days are numbered if I dare give feedback? We need to create a culture where that's expected, where it's encouraged. Imagine a culture where the senior leadership team went around the shop floor and actually asked for feedback about their performance. Okay, but just be aware it can be a factor that affects the ability to give and receive feedback hierarchy. Okay, so have a little think about chatting with yourselves in your business, and we'll talk about what you think may exist or what's the biggest problem, and then perhaps we can help each other think about ways that we can overcome it.